It doesn't matter what field you might work or study in, you must have tried your hand in programming one point or another. Especially when there is so much content available on the internet, most programming enthusiasts prefer to learn on resources like YouTube, W3 Schools, Coursera, and other similar platforms. However, before you start coding, there's one important thing to consider. Remember, learning to code isn't just about writing code that you see online and check the output. Instead, there is a method to learning, whether you learn individually or in a group. But unfortunately, self-learners tend to spend way too much time on things that are irrelevant to their coding knowledge. However, since they are unaware of these things, they end up wasting a lot of time without achieving any substantial results. As a result, they tend to 1. Lose interest in coding, 2. Believe they can never become coding experts, and 3. Switch learning to other subjects because they think coding isn't that easy. So you might have seen a lot of videos talking about what you should do to learn coding, but I'm going to do the opposite today in this video. I'll talk about time-consuming habits that you should avoid if you want to become a productive programmer and a student of programming. You'll be amazed to see how much time you can save by following some simple tips. Hence, you become a better coder in a quicker time with these simple hacks. Here are a few things that you should consider. First, stop researching and start coding. This one is specifically true for new coders. Since there is so much information out there and everyone is talking about different programming languages and tools, it's obviously confusing for new learners to select and start working on a programming language. They often spend too much time researching on the best programming language and programming IDEs and benefits of learning a certain language. This is a clear waste of time because it kills your positive energy. Hence, you should dive into any programming language by reading some basic information. But I can make that job easier for you. Start with Python or JavaScript if you're a new learner. The more time you spend reading about coding, the less time you'll actually spend coding. It's better to start writing programs and testing things out, and you can pick up on the additional tools and supporting technologies as you move forward. Likewise, web developers and database students are concerned about the right tools for their learning. Remember, there is nothing as the best tool. Every tool has different applications, so quick research on tools for your niche should be enough to get started. The next thing to understand is it's not a coding exam. A lot of programmers waste their time learning the syntax and theoretical aspects of coding. Remember, you're learning a skill rather than putting yourself in the misery of memorizing tough-to-grab concepts. Moreover, being an expert in coding doesn't mean that you should have every syntactical component dialed in. So stop wasting time memorizing things and focus more on code structure and understanding the bigger picture. Whenever you're stuck in a problem, use tools like Google to find your answer instead of pressuring your memory to give you the answer. Learning a program is a repetition skill, so you'll inherently pick up the syntax of the language you're learning as you use it more. Next, make sure there's regular code checks. The best developers ensure their code is working on frequent stages, so they constantly check if their code is working or if there's a mistake. On the other hand, beginners tend to let their code errors pile up and hope that the code will start working miraculously. When you're validating your code frequently, it keeps you from going through the source sifting through mistakes when there is an error. Keep your error stack small and make frequent checks to avoid further problems. The next tip is to stop coding in isolation. When you look at the top programmers and developers, they're active members in a larger developer community. It's an essential trait in good developers because building relationships with other coders can help them and their technical and professional challenges. On the other hand, coders who work in isolation are likely to miss out on opportunities to solve problems and connect with other coders. When you're part of a community, the other developers are more likely to help you out and resolve your problems. Therefore, it's an ideal place for a beginner to start their coding practice. More importantly, strong relationships and other developers can help you land a job through referrals. The next tip is you don't need a sweet desk setup to code. One of the common perceptions about coding is that you need expensive technology tools to work efficiently. That's why you see all these fancy desk setup videos on YouTube where developers are working with multiple screens just to write a single piece of code. This is completely unnecessary to get started. Even an old MacBook or a decent laptop is good enough to run some software. The next thing to know is that math is important, but it's not everything. When you have a decent grasp on math, it can help you with basic programming and problem solving when you're coding. However, it's not needed to be a math genius just so you can learn to code in a specific language. Most programming languages have built-in libraries to do complex math operations, so if you know about basic algebra and have decent knowledge of calculus, it should be more than enough to get you started on tougher technologies like machine learning and AI. If you're still looking for the right programming language to jump in and learn, check out my video on the top 5 programming languages in 2022. See you in there.